Welcome back to Dirtbag America. Today we're going to be working on a project I've wanted to do for a very long time. We're going to be making this solar dehydrator made from recycled materials that I found for free or very cheap. Let's do it, y'all. We're going to be starting this build off with a folding table that I got out of a free pile. I'm going to be extracting the frame from this thing and all the hardware and reusing it to build the solar dehydrator base. The top was pretty disgusting, so I'm going to be replacing it with this OSB scrap that I had lying around. Unfortunately, I did not have a piece big enough to do this in one shot, so we're going to be using 3 smaller sections, taping them together, and using that as our table base. The screws were still in great condition, so we're going to be reusing them for the majority of this build. Now that we've got a secure tabletop, we can move on to the next step, which is building a frame around it that the components of the dehydrator are going to sit inside of. I was able to secure some of this old roofing material, and I'm going to be reusing it and adding it to the bottom of the dehydrator to soak up a little bit more solar heat. I need to maximize vertical space within the frame, so I'm going to be hammering out these ridges to make the metal sit as flat as possible. If I had taller lumber like a 2x4 or a 2x6 to build the frame out of, I probably wouldn't have done this, but since I used 2x3s, this felt necessary. Because the metal was a little warped after the hammering, we're going to go in and reuse the screws from the frame to get it to sit flat against the wood. Next, I found this old screen door for about $15, and we're going to extract the screen from it to use as the food drying surface. You could just build one of these out of some screen from a hardware store and a wood frame, but this seemed a lot easier and it'll be nice and lightweight. To get it down to the right dimensions, I'm removing the spline, then pulling the frame apart so that I can make a couple cuts. You should be able to do this with any screen that you find. It's a fairly simple process once you figure out how it's put together. Now that I have the screen at the right dimensions, I want to add a little stability to it, so I'm going to be attaching it to these little wooden battens. This is going to have the added benefit of getting the screen up off the metal a little bit and increasing airflow around the food. My landlord dropped these windows off a while back, and they're kind of cracked, a little messed up, but I'm really excited because this is going to be a perfect use for them. Today's video sponsor is Outisan. They make this really fancy little electric assist wagon. It sets up really easily and has this battery on the front that powers a small electric motor. Once it's on and you release the foot brakes, you just pull this small trigger in the handle and it assists in whatever direction you're walking. I wasn't sure how useful this would be, but after using it around the property for a bit, I came to really like it. Outisan has some kind of special smart technology that tracks how quickly you're moving forward or backward, and then the wagon will match your speed. When I was walking around the property through the grass, uphill or downhill, it was like I wasn't really pulling the wagon at all. The electric motor does basically all the work. You kind of just tell it where to go. Aside from the electric assist, it's also equipped with a braking system, so when you're going downhill, it's not like clipping your heels or anything. And it has this removable bottom that you can pull up and then shake out the canvas to make cleanup super easy. Another fun feature is this light bar on the front, so if it's dark, it kind of illuminates the path in front of you. If you guys want to check it out, there's a link in the description, but otherwise, let's get back to the build. My plan initially was to attach the windows with hinges, but that just seemed too complicated. So instead, I'm just going to frame in one side with a couple pieces of pallet wood so that the windows can be lifted without sliding off. Solar dehydrators work best when they're at an angle, so I'm going to be cutting down the legs on one side so that it will sit a little bit lower than the other. To both increase the angle and make this thing a lot easier to move, I'm going to be adding these little wheels that I found at the junk shop for $1 a piece, and the hardware is just some stuff that I have lying around. I was a little skeptical, but upon first test, this thing was really easy to move and rolled right through the grass, no problem. This is great because I can shuffle it around the property, following the sun wherever it's traveling through the sky. To get proper dehydration, we need some airflow, so I'm going to be adding vents to the top, and to keep bugs out, I'm going to shove in these little pieces of screen into each hole. Because the dehydrator is at an angle and the vents are at the top, the hot air on the inside is going to travel upwards and out those little vents. This creates a natural convection airflow so that I don't have to add a fan or power it with anything. I did clean this thing before using it, and I added one more little hole at the bottom so that the water and soap could drain out. I recently gleaned a bunch of cherries from an old local orchard, so we're going to use them to test this thing out and see if it actually works. The first day was super sunny, the second day was pretty cloudy, and then midway through the third day, I had these. Honestly, I was not sure how well this thing would work, but I was blown away. It dehydrated these cherries way faster than I thought, and honestly, they were almost too dehydrated. That's it for this video, you guys. If you like my content, you know what to do, and I'll see you in the next one.